What I'll do is I'll ask Craig and David to stay up there. I'll open it for questions. While most will be directed at G, in case anyone would like to ask David or Craig a question, or if they'd like to contribute to an answer. So we have, as scheduled, just half an hour of this session left. So let me open up, and just before I do, let me embarrass Emma and ask her to stand up, who is one of Gurbash Chahal's scholarship winners. So a round for Emma. So I'll open this up. I'll ask some of the assistants to pass the mic around. So who has a question? Okay, we'll go over here. We'll do these two. So if you'd ask one and then just pass it right next to you.
Hi there. So I'm actually in the process of raising a second round of funding for my startup. Just want to get your thoughts on valuation or terms that you would advise me, having been through the process, that I should look at.
Terms mean everything. Terms are the definition, because and liquidation preference is probably one of the toughest terms that you gotta zone in on.
So liquidation and
liquidation preference.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to, I'd ask people to ask a question, not make a statement, and that would be great. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Arjun. I'm actually a college student as well, working on my second real startup, and we raised a round of funding from some pretty big names in New York, and we're now in the process of raising another round. So pretty excited.
Okay, great. And if you pass the microphone, I had a question right next to you.
Hi, Gurbaksh, I'm Priya. I'm little offbeat like you are. I quit school. I finished school, but I didn't go to college like all Indian people are supposed to. I started working, and after 4.5 years, I'm like, okay, let's go to school before I'm 30. So I'm doing my accounting and my finance, because now I'm sure about what I want to do. I've always been, but I'm more sure about what I want to do. So my question is, if I were to write a chapter on Gurbaksh Chahal's style of business, what do you think I should include as the key points? Because you're definitely not traditional. So.
You want to write a chapter on my style?
On your style of business.
Style of business? Dream big, hustle harder. I mean,
all right.
4 words right there.
Thank you.
That's the chapter title. Another question? Up front, okay, no, back there and then up front.
Hey, my name's Shah. I'm an entrepreneur working on a business now. It's a mobile app. Question I have for you is, you keep saying hustle harder. Do you listen to a lot of rap? Do you listen to hip hop at all? Meek Mill or Wale?
I used to, but I'm more house music now.
So Burning Man, have you?
No, I've never gone to Burning Man. I podcast though. Okay. Yeah.
I think up front there was a question right there.
Hello, Gurbaksh. I'm Sandeep Kaur. My question is how to handle bureaucracy in business, because you just mentioned emotions don't go well in business. We have to think from logic. But there's the other part of bureaucracy in corporate world. Can you just describe a little bit about that?
Well, I've never had to face it because I don't believe in bureaucracy in any of my companies. We have an open door policy, and that's just the culture we instill. Unfortunately, in larger companies, though, there is that issue that comes up, and I think what you got to do is just understand what you want to accomplish and try to figure out a way to accomplish it. And if that means going 1 level, 2 levels higher up the food chain, you do it, but you do it with class so it doesn't offend anyone.
All right. Thank you.
We have a question over here.
Hi, Gurbash. My name is Vincent. I have a background in real estate and finance. My question for you is, at age 16, how did you know that entrepreneurship was your passion? Like, what kind of inspiration did you receive at that age?
Well, I was, unlike typical 16-year-olds, my favorite channel was actually CNBC. So I loved the stock market. I loved what was going on in the dot-com boom. I lived in it, technically, in the Bay Area. And I saw that entire cycle go by. And there was just this innate desire where I just wanted to be in it. I mean, I don't know if this is a feeling you've ever had where you see something and you just say, I want to be part of that. I want to do that, right? And what I had to do was convince myself I wasn't 16. And then I had to convince the rest of the world that I wasn't 16, right? So once I did that, I was in business.
You have a question yourself? Go ahead.
My name is Max Brahmapur. I'm a freshman here. I'm 19. And my question for you is, how at a young age did you decide that you were going to turn something that was just a dream into reality? And what steps did you have to take to make it a reality?
Similarly, what I said before just now is that, people get focused on the age a lot. And what I had to do early on, I can say I'm 31 now because I'm old, according to a 19-year-old. But when I was 16, I never let anybody know my actual age. Ironically enough, this is a true fact. I was a best man of my best friend, and he did not even know my actual age until I sold my second company. And when I sold my second company, I was 25, so I figured that was kind of okay now to tell the world my real age. And but you don't have the problem I did. So the generation gap that we have now is that it's actually cool to be 19 and an entrepreneur working on an app or working on something amazing. I had a different stereotypical generational gap.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Peralta, and I flew all the way here from Arkansas.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yes, El Dorado, Arkansas. It's a small town.
Wow.
I have a question for you, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. There's one question that I have to ask you, and there's two different things in business. There's emerging markets, and there's real business. And when you're doing something, when you're starting up, you have to know the difference between those two. And you already have three. Well, you already have three companies, and two of them were sold to different investors. But how do you know that you want to have a real business and you just run it by yourself or sell it? When do you think that it's time just to let go of it and just move on to something else?
So it's a good question. So you never start a business with the idea of selling it. And even though I sold my last two companies, people came to me, right? So the thing I said earlier here is that perception's reality. People want what they can't have, become the thing people want. If you build a business and an idea that's great and you execute on it, people are going to come to you, right? And at that point, you make a judgment call, whether you want to do something, right? Fortunately, I've had enough financial success where, this time around, I'm not even. Somebody came knocking, and maybe if they offered me $19 billion, I might consider it. But other than that, I'm more focused on kind of wanting to be the person acquiring companies rather than the one getting acquired. But either which way, I built each of my businesses never to be sold, right? And there's a difference between getting bought versus getting sold, right? When you're getting bought, right? Somebody has an interest, genuine interest, right? Emotional interest to a price that they're wanting to pay you, that $19 billion number, right? WhatsApp got bought. They weren't sold. Sold is when you're actually, a foreclosure, right? And you're getting sold because you have to be sold, and that's the difference.
Correct.
And you can't build a business on the process of getting sold. You have to build something that people want, regardless of whatever the outcome ends up becoming.
That's what I meant to ask you. I'm sorry for the sold part. But from your first two companies, what was the reason why you sold it? Was it the price, or was it because you thought that the company that was buying it from you was the right fit?
Oh, well, I mean, the first time around, I was 18. I was stupid. So somebody knocked on my door and said, hey, this is what I'm interested in, and I signed up for it because I figured, what else is there to, I mean, that's success for me right there, right? That's like my MBA school right there I just got. I stuck around with that company for 1.5 years. So I did get a little bit of corporate bureaucracy in that environment. But you know, it comes down to intuition, right? If you build a business for the long term, you build it for the right reasons, opportunities come your way, and then you get to decide what you want to do.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Anybody else travel from
Arkansas.
Arkansas or further beyond? I know G came in from New York, but Ottawa? Okay, another country.
Wow.
Please.
I'm actually a mother of two, 36 years old, working in IT marketing manager for a small IT company that got purchased. When you talked about the difference between an entrepreneur and a dreamer, the 99%, and you touched about the fact that someone could use the excuse of, oh, I can't have enough money to start it. If you were to name 3 questions that one was to ask themselves to differentiate themselves from a dreamer or a true entrepreneur, what would they be?
Just one. How badly do you want it? And if you can answer that, then you'll figure out a way how to get there.
One of the books I have my students read is called The Monk and the Riddle, and it's a story about Randy Komisar, who now works for Kleiner Perkins, but it was about, it's a make-believe story, but it's about that question and seeing if he really was passionate about that. Does anyone come from another country? Have you read Ramash's book? Okay. Well, then I gotta. Okay.
Well, thank you for coming.
Here you go. I don't know why.
Thanks. I don't come from another country, but I am an actor here at Pace University. I attend the Actors Studio School of Drama here, and I'm the black sheep of my family. I was a kindergarten teacher, and I took a leap of faith to become an actor. And I want to know, what advice would you give for someone like me after I graduate? I want to go out, act, go on auditions. There's a lot of rejection. And I also want to open my acting program, school for school kids. Someone who's never been in business before, an actor, you know, just, and you talked about money. You know, that's my basic, you know, I think weakness. I always think, where am I going to get the money to raise a school for these kids to learn acting and you know, show my expertise? What advice would you give me on that?
I think all of that comes through a process. First of all, I know nothing about acting, so I can't say anything there. But going out there and being able to tolerate rejection is just a fact of life, and we all get our different doses of it. So being able to have a thick skin that can, you know, drown it out and actually let you want to pursue it is, I think, what you got to prepare yourself for. And you can't, you have to separate whatever you want to do philanthropically or, you know, on your next level in terms of actually, you know, do a school or something like that from your actual commercial success. So you want to have that commercial success first, right? You can't think about the next step before you are worried about this first step, which is, I just want to go ahead and be a successful actress, right? So I'm going to have to focus on whatever rejection I get, and then I'm going to break it, and I'm going to be extremely successful. And as long as you believe it, that'll help you filter out any of the negativity that comes your way.
We do have time for a couple more. There's, well, you have one right behind you, and then we'll go over here to you, the gentleman on the left.
Hi, my name is Arjuna. My question is, you spoke a lot about the happiness from your blog, and I was wondering how, when you first started out, if you felt that way, and sort of where this came from. Like, I mean, did it come later, and how you've talked about how you've incorporated it now, but maybe sort of in the earlier stages, how you felt about it.
Well, I think it's the 31-year-old version of me writing. So this was when I was 25, so there's probably a big difference to time and experience and things that happen. And, you know, what I hope to accomplish even in my second book, I think is something that Professor Bruce and I were talking about, is that, you know, once you achieve success and you want to stay there, or once you even just have success, there isn't a book or a manual you can read that says, don't do this, stay away from this, X, Y, Z, right? And I hope to incorporate a lot of that in my next book. But this happiness blog is something that I felt very passionate about. And I read probably once a week, right? Because, you know, we go through those spiral moments in our lives where, you hit a brick wall on something you're working on, and you kind of got to snap back out of it and realize, okay, no, what really matters? And you get focused back right on it.
And then I think there was a question over here, the gentleman over here, if you have the mic. Okay, yeah, just here.
Hi, my name is Leo. I actually worked with David when he was starting it here at Elite Daily. But yeah, my question is really, Gurbash, for you about patents. And so, you know, I have a lot of people pitch me, you know, physical ideas and ask me to invest in these things. And, you know, the problem they seem to face is that, you know, they have this idea for a product, and, you know, to get it manufactured, the industrial design, all this stuff's going to cost them, you know, $100,000 by the time they ship it over, you know, things like that. And then they need the attorney fees also to patent it. And so, you know, when they come to me and they, you know, they give me the idea, you know, I signed their NDA, whatever, you know, they'll say, you know, can I have money to patent it before they do the design, the proof of concept, and all this stuff. So I was wondering, you know, what your thoughts are, you know, on people pitching ideas before they even patent them, and then is it worth it to patent it or take, you know, to the market? Because I know GoPro has this problem. So I know the guy who owns a patent for GoPro, but there's another company that's actually doing it. And so, you know, there's this huge battle going on. So I was curious about your input on that.
Sure. So at Radium One, we've filed 6 patents in the last 4 years. We barely got a letter in the mail from the USPTO about one of them, saying that, you know, it's looking good, XYZ, fix it, and that'll get approved. So that's a long journey. I mean, it takes 3 years to get a patent, 4 years if you're lucky, right? And so to build a business on that, I mean, it took 4 years to create WhatsApp and $19 billion. I mean, come on, you don't need a patent now. And anybody that thinks about building a business on a patent or building a business on a business plan is foolish. I mean, I know that's what business school teaches you, but hustling makes business happen. Executing makes business happen. Conviction makes business happen. All the other stuff are just ornaments.
And so about school, the whole, and we'll get the questions, schools are changing, and they have to. So one of the classes that we just started is called Entrepreneurial Implementation. Students have to get out of the classroom and implement some aspect of a business. And again, I'm not a traditional academic. I've started companies here and overseas. I've worked in 26 different countries. So we get it. Next question back here.
My name is Diana, and I happen to be a freelance designer and writer. I also have a handmade shop that I create my own jewelry based on pop culture, and I've been doing this for about 3 years now. You've mentioned about karma during the discussion, so I basically would like to know your opinion about, do you define success with the amount of relationships that you have built around peers as well as any investors? And also, is your book available on Kindle? Because I really don't like, purchasing books.
You know what? I think it's on Kindle, iPad, you name it, iPhone, everything. So
Yeah, I like to save the trees.
yeah, so I support you in that. In terms of karma, I look at karma differently. I mean, I've made investors hundreds of millions of dollars. That doesn't mean they're going to do anything for me now. I mean, that was the past. So the way I look at karma is that you cannot achieve the amount of success I've had without having gotten screwed over, and screwed over a gazillion times, right? So That's what I mean by karma. The difference is that most people get stuck in that, and they can't let go, right? They get stuck in this vengeance mode, or they get stuck in this I can't believe this happened to me mode, and they consume themselves with it, and that takes away energy. And at the end of the day, in order for you to be successful in your job or in your journey, it's all about positive energy in your life, right? And karma is an excuse that you can give yourself to not have negative energy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we have the last question, if you come here, Dr. Bandari, a faculty member at PACE, because I want to leave like just 5 minutes in case I know some people brought a copy of the book and would like Gurbash to sign it and maybe say hello. So let's take the last question over here, and then we'll have a few minutes again. If somebody has a book or would like to ask a question, G has to catch the last flight out of New York back to San Francisco. Please.
Gurbaksh, congratulations, wonderful things. I like to know more about the job you still have open.
Oh, that one. Oh.
No, never mind. No.
I've gotten that before. You're hired.
Oh, thank you. Okay. The point I have there is that obviously entrepreneurial jobs, they require different qualifications than general management jobs, and I teach both. So what you are looking for in a candidate for their job, and so I mean these students can move
it's very see, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to. It's unorthodox. but okay, all right. Your SAT scores don't matter. Your GPA doesn't matter, right? So what does matter is what's in here and what's in here, right? And academics can teach you how to get from point A to point B, but they can't teach you the skills that you need to survive in the real world, right? And what I look for, if I'm interviewing someone, and I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, so in the first 5 minutes I can figure out, why is this person here? What do they want? And do they have chemistry? And how badly do they want it, right? What's their purpose? What's their motive? What's their interest? Are they going to go to war with me? Are they going to go ahead and go through hell with me before we reach the promised land, right? That has nothing to do with GPA. That has nothing to do with the Ivy League education that people advertise and try to go after. That has to do with this, and that has to do with this. And that's what you need in an interview.
Can I follow up on that, please, if I may? In your senior management, how many people do you have which don't have a formal bachelor's or master's or PhDs?
Everybody has a degree,
okay,
besides me, but I have an honorary one by this university, so that trumps it. But in the management team, no. Everybody is either a bachelor's, masters, or a PhD.
Okay, so again, a follow-up, please, again for my students.
No worries.
And for myself.
I already hired you.
If you don't see me on Tuesday, you know the reason, okay? Again, teaching both management and finance and writing about them. My question is, how you would advise students that, hey, you would have a formal degree, it's good to have, and then this is what else you should have.
Sure, no, I have a degree, but also have street smart. And that's sometimes, I mean, We hired this guy. He was from Stanford in my last company, head of his class. I don't know, 4.8 GPA, whatever the heck they call it there. And we fired him at that day, just because he just had this personality issue that just didn't click. So, you know, kind of the fail fast mode I was talking about. I'm talking about people here, and it takes unemotion. It takes logic to be able to realize this is cancerous, this is out. So you gotta be able to go ahead and have personality. You gotta be able to have vision. You gotta have charisma. You gotta have the will to want to win in that interview.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations.